Good evening and welcome to Nationwide. I'm Ayodiji Makinde. Remember, you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and on YouTube channel, NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page. It's NTA Network News, Twitter at NTANewsNow, and Instagram, NTA Network for updates. Dry lands comprise more than 40% of the landmass in Africa, but are facing constant threats by climate change and degradation. The Federal Ministry of Environment is now harnessing the research capacity of Bayero University, Kano, to address these threats. Onengiye Fineface reports.
More than 325 million people live in dry lands. Dry lands have low rainfall and high temperatures, which affect crops and livestock production. This is worsened by unsustainable land use, deforestation, erosion, and pollution. As a strategy to mitigate climate change and restore degraded land, the Federal Ministry of Environment is collaborating with Bayero University, Kano, where the Center for Dryland Agriculture is producing scientific solutions to the problems facing drylands in Nigeria.
And in fact, we would like to see researchers from Bayero University, Kano, to be on the Intergovernmental Panel on climate change. All the other international bodies, there are UN agencies for drought and desertification. There are other UN agencies all over. We have enough researchers in Nigeria to be on those panels. So we'll be collaborating greatly with the university, and we'll be ordering a lot of the seedlings, like the date palm seedlings that we want to plant for our projects in the north. We'll be ordering from this university.
And we have finished discussing with the minister. Immediately after our visit, we are going to go into MOU, and then we collaborate between the university and our ministry to see what we can do to move the economy forward.
This collaboration is expected to mitigate climate extremes like drought and promote sustainable environments using appropriate technology from the university. Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
Engaging women and youth in different ways has been identified as a means of alleviating poverty and other social problems in the society. Minister of State, Labor and Empowerment, Festus Keyamo, disclosed this while distributing kits to 1,000 beneficiaries of federal government skill acquisition programs held in Daura. Sani Basiru reports.
Poverty and unemployment are among the major causes of many social vices in the society, and this prompted the federal government to embrace means of empowering Nigerians, especially women and the teeming youths on different trades, to reduce the problems to the barest minimum. The 1,000 beneficiaries of the empowerment programs went through rigorous training on different trades in Katsina State.
I'm mandated to cater for unemployed Nigerians in all categories.
Emir of Daura, Alhaji Umar Faruk Umar, commended President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration for initiating policies and programs aimed at alleviating poverty and unemployment among Nigerians.
I appreciate the knowledge I acquired during the acquisition skills and the NGE program.
We benefited a lot of knowledge from the computer.
Minister of State, Labor and Employment Festus Keyamo and Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi spoke on the important steps taken by the federal government to address the problems of unemployment in Nigeria.
This is the beginning. We are starting with 1,000 citizens of Katsina State.
I hope they are trained. I hope that they are able to use it. Even if we can't eradicate poverty, let them reduce poverty.
From Daura, Sani Basiru, NTA News.
In a related development, Governor Bala Muhammad of Bauchi State has continued to roll out his empowerment programs across local government areas of Bauchi State. Mahmoud Muhammad reports.
These are testimonies of gratitude by sons and daughters of Toro and Das local government areas of Bauchi State. They are beneficiaries of the Gaura Economic Empowerment Program. 500 in each of the LGAs. These beneficiaries receive sewing and grinding machines, cash, motorcycles and cars amongst other items based on comparative advantage.
More than 500 beneficiaries will be given cash or implements worth over 70 million.
As a leader, I always make a criticism of myself. What have I done to the local governments on the basis of equity and justice? What have I done on the basis of the state character? What have I done to the population on the basis of equity?
With Toro Andas LGS concluded, 11,000 youths and women have so far been empowered in 12 local government areas. In Bauchi, Mahmoud Muhammad, NTA News.
The newly deployed Commissioner of Police, Yobe State Command, Haruna Garba, has vowed to strengthen synergy between the command and other sister security in the renewed task of getting rid of crimes and criminal elements in the state. Yunusa Suleiman reports that the commissioner indicated this commitment while interacting with journalists at the command headquarters in Damaturu.
Security experts have in many different fora emphasized the need for enhanced interagency collaboration for Nigeria to effectively tackle emerging security concerns. This perhaps explains the reason that the newly deployed Yobe State Commissioner of Police Haruna Garba, in a recent parley with journalists, says the command under his stewardship will enhance synergy with sister security agencies operating in the state.
In tackling crime and criminality, the command under my watch will employ visibility policing, intelligence-led policing, and community policing.
On rampant rape cases and gender-based violence, the CP pledges that his command will leave no stone unturned in tackling the menace so as to protect the dignity of the people, especially women and children, who usually fall victims of such acts.
What we tend to do, we have been doing to stem the tide, is sensitization.
He, however, appeals to the general public to always volunteer credible and actionable information to the police so as to serve them better, with the commitment of ensuring their fundamental rights as enshrined in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. In Damaturu, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA News.
Nationwide continues in our Lagos studio with Adeola. Hello, Adeola. It's over to you.
Thank you, Ayo. The Federal Operations Unit of the Nigeria Customs Service Zone A has intercepted more than 75,000 packs of tramadol with a street value of 3 billion naira. Although the owner of a warehouse where the items were seized is at large, the unit was still able to arrest 23 suspects in connection with various infractions. Michael Olaleye reports.
The renewed strategies adopted by the Nigerian Customs Service to rid the country of smuggling activities is gradually paying off. This time, 75,492 packs of tramadol were discovered at a warehouse in Monkey Village in Kirikiri area of Lagos. The warehouse has been sealed, but the customs is still on the lookout for the owner. This is in addition to another set of expired drugs separately impounded.
As a matter of fact, from this diclofenac sodium 50 milligram with caffeine 50 milligram has the capacity of treating eight different ailments. But it expired since May 2019. And now, all they needed to do was to just remove the package, rebrand, and extend the lifespan. Then Nigerians will start buying this and be complaining of, hey, this one is wrong with me, this one is wrong with nobody we know.
It has become extremely impossible for the customs to record any seizure without bags of rice. But the tactics employed to conceal 1,000 bags out of the 9,697 seized within 3 weeks beats the imagination of the customs. 1,000 bags were shared and concealed among bags of cement across 10 trailers.
Backpack side, you know, they leave cement around that side. So all they needed to do was to just arrange. When they ferry them in with their motorcycles, they will heap them somewhere. Then they start loading like this.
Other items seized include 195 bales of second-hand clothing, 17 used vehicles and tires. Within this same period, 5 suspects have been given administrative bail out of the 23 arrested, while 18 are still in custody. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NTA News.
For the first time, the Nigerian Constitution has been translated into 3 major indigenous languages, and this is expected to aid legislative decisions that will benefit all Nigerians. The unity document, facilitated by the Prince Ade Ajayi Foundation and Center for Constitutional Literacy and Civic Education, was presented to the public in Lagos. Hingino John Adams reports.
The founding fathers of democracy in Nigeria and constitutional governance derive its power from the people and governance from a set of rules and laws known as the Constitution. A proper understanding of the provisions in the Constitution, citizens' rights, and their role to nation building therefore became critical to making meaningful contributions to the Nigerian project. To achieve these goals, lecturer at the Olabisi Onabanjo University and experienced public administrator Prince Ade Ajayi is changing the narrative by empowering citizens' leadership and stakeholders' unity for the rebirth of a greater Nigeria, hence the need for the translation of the Constitution into Hausa, Igbo, and Yoruba languages.
Get the Nigerian Constitution and give it to everybody and preach it so that we'll be able to make sure that we elect and we vote people that are well informed about our Constitution.
The transcribed Constitution was unveiled alongside the book titled I Love My Country, Nigeria, Understanding Her Government, Politics and Culture.
A lot of Nigerians would talk about their rights only, forgetting that they too have obligations to the government and to Nigeria as a nation.
You get contribution from even a pepper seller on the street because he or she can have access to the Constitution.
If you don't know even the Constitution, the content of the Constitution of the country, how do you talk about your rights?
The Alaafin of Oyo described the book as apt.
This is an opportunity for outside people to read the Constitution of Nigeria. People read it and come to the decision whether the Constitution is possible or not.
Over 500,000 Nigerians have been empowered through the movement by adding their voices to achieving a greater Nigeria. In Lagos, Hingino John Adams, NTA News.
And those are the stories from Lagos, but don't forget that you can still follow this news live on our website at nta.ng/live and on YouTube at NTA News Online. You can also visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News, our Twitter handle at NTANewsNow, and on Instagram at NTA Network for updates. Let's take our first break on Nationwide, after which we will join Fatima in Makurdi. To stay on.
And a warm welcome to Makurdi. The Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Senator George Akume, says the observable achievement of President Muhammadu Buhari, guided by the ruling All Progressive Congress Party APC, has continued to draw members from the opposition parties, saying the party will build on its development vision for the country. Senator George Akume stated this at Adikpo Kwande local government area of Benue State while welcoming hundreds of people that defected into APC. Elias Itia reports that the APC leader in the state assured them of equal opportunities for all.
And numbers under the leadership of a former State House of Assembly member, Mr. Hemen Boko,
thronged Adikpo, the headquarters of Kwande local government area, for the decamping ceremony into the All Progressives Congress, APC. Leader of the APC in the state and Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Senator George Akume, while welcoming the decampees, assured them of fairness, equity and justice in all activities of the party.
All of you, I want to re-emphasize that there are no joiners, there are no founders. Those of us who started, left the doors open for all of you who would decide to come. You have the rights and privileges, the same rights and privileges that I have.
State Chairman APC, Mr. Austin Agada, and several other party stalwarts reaffirmed that the massive defection of people from other political parties into the APC signals the party's strength in reclaiming the governorship seat in the forthcoming general elections.
So the people of Benue are happy with the APC. They are happy that they have a party called APC at the center, and this time around the people on their own willingly have come out to say no more will they be deceived any longer, that their votes must count and APC, Benue must be APC.
APC government is a humane government. When we come in, we are going to rectify all that, rehabilitate the 23 local governments, open up the health centers and make people extremely happy.
The decamping ceremonies continue in other local government areas of the state. From Kwande local government area of Benue State, Elias Etiaf, NTA News.
The Nigerian Army School of Military Engineering, Makudi, is to re-engineer its capacity building so as to prosecute the insecurity in parts of the country. Force Commander Operation Wellstroke in Makudi, Major General Kelvin Aligbe stated this at the annual West African Social Activities, WASA, where military personnel unwind with their civil population to mark the end of military operations each year. Ashezi Gopab reports that different cultural groups thrilled the audience.
WASA, which is held annually by various army formations and commands across the country, is a social event which gives personnel of the Nigerian military a home feeling, despite being away from their homeland. It also provides a platform to showcase national heritage and patriotism above religious, ethnic, and social sentiments. The piece by the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, on the Bleeding Nigeria summarizes the need for every Nigerian to contribute to the building of the country.
Nigeria will continue to arise. Ladies and gentlemen, right now I present.
Several traditional troops representing various ethnic groups displayed their cultural heritage. There was a tug of war between soldiers' wives and female corps members, fashion parade, as well as several other competitions in a bid to relax and foster unity among them. While commending officers and men of the Nigerian Army for their sacrifices in different theaters of operations, special guest of honor and first commander, Operation Wellstroke, Benue State, Major General Kevin Aligbe, urged the personnel to redouble their efforts to overcome the challenges of insecurity in the country.
We are going to continue to sustain whatever we achieved during that Yuletide period, and to ensure that everybody, every citizen of this country is safe.
The West African Social Activities, WASA, is an age-long tradition which started during the days of West African Volunteer Force, bringing personnel of the Nigerian military, their families and friends to socialize from the usual barrack tradition of regimentation, as well as to foster unity and promote civil-military relationship. In Makudi, Ashezigopep, NTA News.
And that's it from Makudi. Nationwide continues in Abuja with Ayo Deji.
Thanks, Fatima, in our Makudi Network Center. Moving on, over 22,160 kilograms of illicit substances have been seized in a sting operation conducted in 8 states by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA. These substances are identified as codeine syrups, methamphetamine, loud, and cannabis sativa, among others, believed to have fueled a lot of criminal activities in the country. 29 suspects were arrested in connection with the crime, as well as 268 debit cards seized from one of the suspects. Meanwhile, NDLEA says it has destroyed 3 hectares of 4 dry season cannabis farms in Igbogiri forests in Edo State. The influx of internally displaced persons into various camps, particularly that of Gwada Central Primary School, has been described as overwhelming. The increase in the number of IDPs, the management of camp says, is as a result of recent terrorist attacks on some communities in Shiroro and Munya local government areas of Niger State. Let's join Abubakar Wowo for the details.
The recent terrorist attacks on some communities in Shiroro and Munya local government areas of Niger State, which claimed several lives, including that of some members of Joint Security Task Force, has also left thousands of people homeless. The pitiable sight of villagers looking for places of abode in the neighboring villages and towns call for concern, just as many of them have now found a safe haven at the premises of a government-owned school turned IDP camp, which is now overcrowded.
No any food, even the clothes self, we have not.
They burn our houses. That is why we are here. All our food that we get, the burn is all.
Maybe small suffering when we suffer. In the morning and evening, we not cry, we cry.
Before now, we have about 444 IDPs, but now we have about 3,460 as of yesterday.
The donation of food items by a non-governmental organization, Victim Support Fund, is said to have come at the nick of the time, particularly with the influx of persons recently displaced, which means there are more mouths to feed.
We have the rest we are taking to Kontagora, to Rijau, and that whole angle, about 4 local governments there, because they are also suffering.
Niger State Governor represented at the symbolic presentation of the food items to the IDPs, appreciated the Victim Support Fund for the humanitarian gesture.
He has directed the Niger State Emergency Management Agency to carry out the inventory of those that were displaced, newly displaced, so that at the end of the day we'll be able to give them the needed thing.
As at the time of filing in this report, the IDPs are still trooping to the Goda camp. Mokhtar Wowo, NTA News.
Following the success of the Made in Nigeria International Partnership Forum in Paris late last year, a documentary will be showing daily on different television networks in Nigeria from Monday, February 7, 2022 to Friday, 11th February 2022. And the Nigerian Television Authority, the NTA, will transmit it at 8 p.m. And Obehi is standing by in our Benin Network Center for more reports on Nationwide. It's over to you, Obehi.
Thank you, Ayodeji, and welcome to Benin. Wife of Edo State Governor Betsy Obaseki has presented the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law to the Chief Judge of Edo State, Justice Joe Isebaga Acha. Betsy Obaseki, while making the presentation, urged the judiciary to ensure full implementation of the law. Elizabeth Omoko reports.
The high rate of gender-based violence has become worrisome and quite unsettling to come to terms with. Apart from the general discrimination, women have to contend with being abused and battered. It is to protect the cause of these vulnerable that the wife of the governor is here to present copies of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law to the Chief Judge.
As a tool to help them carry out their duties in this regard.
Betsy Obaseki sees the collaborative effort of the judiciary in ending the war against gender-based violence. For the Chief Judge, the effort of the governor's wife in fighting against gender-based violence in the state is commendable. He says the judiciary is in the process of drafting practice direction for the implementation of the law.
I want to thank the First Lady for your commitment, your concern for the welfare of the less privileged in our society, particularly the vulnerable ones, which this law seeks to protect. I want to assure you that judiciary is there for you, that we partner with you.
Edo State government had signed the provision of the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Law 2021. In Benin, Elizabeth Omako, NTA News.
Infrastructural development and provision of social amenities are aimed at creating the enabling environment for learning and acquisition of vocational skills. Paul Omokago reports that even with the availability of these amenities to some extent, the challenge of street begging and out-of-school children in Nigeria has not been eliminated. What are the factors? He has experts' opinion on this.
Statistics of out-of-school children and street begging vary from state to state. The menace has been frontally tackled by some states, particularly in the southern part of the country, with the introduction of free and compulsory education at 2 levels, primary and secondary. With constitutional provisions for free association, movement and migration from different regions within Nigeria, many states still grapple with the challenge, especially against the background of insecurity, which has led to an increasing population of internally displaced persons. Efe Shima is a social activist and consultant. He is of the opinion that public-spirited Nigerians should lend a hand by sponsoring children of the less privileged up to secondary school level.
I've had the opportunity and time to intervene on several occasions. You see all these boys during school hours, they're doing conductor work, selling the markets. From them, they find themselves into crime.
We have social welfare. That's why they are there. They are the ones that should fix the problem.
A legal practitioner in Benin underscored the need for policies with requisite legal framework.
The visitor or even resident see them menacing people, trespassing in the name of begging, in the name of soliciting for favors. We paint the city in bad lights.
There are also those who are suggesting a well-defined educational policy applicable everywhere across the entire country. In Benin, Paul Omokago, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin Network Center. Right after this break, Nationwide continues from our Jos Network Center. Good afternoon.
Chairman, National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, Professor Mohammed Haruna, is calling for the provision of the state-of-the-art equipment at the National Metallurgical Development Center, Jos, for it to realize its potentials. He stated this while on tour of facilities at the center. Ijoma Uzemina reports.
Apart from conducting applied research into the quality of coals available in Nigeria and metallurgical coke from indigenous coal samples, the Development Center, established in 1973, also upgrade the qualities of Nigerian low-grade ores and minerals through beneficiation techniques and processes. The collaboration between the Development Center and National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure is expected to add value to the mineral resources, while Naseni will transform it to engineering and industrial uses to address unemployment, poverty, and the nation's foreign exchange. Director General Naseni, Professor Haruna, accompanied by the Director General, National Metallurgical Development Center, inspected facilities on ground for processing metals and non-metals to be used for research and development of the economy.
Until this place is properly equipped with state-of-the-art equipment, we will continue to be losing the benefits that are there in our God-given mineral resources.
Nigeria has more than 44 minerals, and most of them have not been analyzed yet. And without this equipment, we will not be able to analyze them and then come up with a blueprint for the country.
Professor Linus Asukwa reveals that the center is working hard for the execution of its mandate. In Jos, Ijoma Ozemina, NTA News.
Plateau State immediate past Commissioner for Commerce and Industry, Joseph Abi Aku, has emerged winner of the All Progressives Congress primary election for Jos North Bassa Federal Constituency by-election, scheduled for 26th of this month. Yildik Danladi reports.
A total of 888 delegates exercised their franchise in a peaceful and orderly manner. Out of the 888 votes, 5 votes were declared invalid after being sorted out.
The votes scored by our candidates are Joseph Abi Aku scored 809 votes. Suleiman Yahaya Kwandi scored 74 votes. We hereby satisfied that Joseph Abi Aku, having scored the highest number of votes cast, is hereby declared the winner.
After days of politicking, days of canvassing for votes, today history has been made. A candidate of a great party, the All Progressive Party, APC, Congress, APC has emerged.
The APC, after this election, primary election, is going to work stronger.
It has been very peaceful. That is very paramount and very important for such elections, and particularly here in Bassa, where people feel that this is impossible.
The by-election scheduled for 26th of this month is to fill the vacancy created by the demise of the member representing the constituency, Haruna Metala. Yildik Danladi, NTA News.
And that's it from Jos. The news continues with Ayo in Abuja.
Thanks, Zinret in Jos. Please remember, you can follow this news broadcast live on our website, nta.ng/live, and on our YouTube channel at NTA News Online. Twitter is at NTANewsNow, and you can also visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News and Instagram NTA Network for updates. A 3-day Niger Delta National Youth Leaders and Development Stakeholders Retreat has ended in Benin with a solemn call on the government and youth to take deliberate steps to stem insecurity and uphold peace as panacea for unity and national development. Rejoice Aniemeka tells us more.
It was the 8th in the series of the Niger Delta National Youth Leaders and Development Stakeholders Forum. The program had the theme, Peace, Security and Development in the Niger Delta. In attendance for this year's edition were key development stakeholders. It featured an online workshop and lecture on security of the Niger Delta.
We must address insecurity in the state, in Niger Delta, in Nigeria. And it's solely the responsibility of the government. If the government wants the law to work today, starting from tomorrow morning, everything will change.
There was also the presentation of Peace Builders Award to deserving individuals, of which some were received by representatives.
The peace building activity we've been doing is through training of the youth, training them in skills, soft skills that can empower them at the same time to become something useful in the society.
Both representatives of the President, National Youth Council of Nigeria and Minister of State Petroleum Resources articulated challenges youth face.
I want to appeal to government, because they cannot employ everybody, they should create the enabling environment for you to engage themselves.
Since we have internet, we should browse more for opportunities. This country is fertile with opportunities for youths.
Niger Delta National Youth Leaders and Development Stakeholders Forum started in 2009. In Benin, Rejoice Aniemeka, NTA News.
Cross River State's Governor, Professor Ben Ayade, is of the view that the completion of the Bakassi Deep Sea Port is instrumental to and will serve as the easiest maritime corridor to export the huge mineral resources in the country. Correspondent Paul Abel reports.
The Bakassi Deep Sea Port is one of the key signature projects of Governor Ben Ayade, and though several approvals have been granted by the coordinating federal ministry, the final approval by the president is yet to be signed.
You have 3 billion tons of iron ore under your soil, and your greatest challenge is access to a maritime corridor. Calabar presents a perfect opportunity. Whether you're coming from America, and Calabar becomes your first entry point into Nigeria, no matter where you're shipping from.
The question is, what will be the fate of Bakassi Deep Sea Port come 2023? Only time will tell. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 145 new cases of COVID-19 in the country. The breakdown shows that Imo State has 65, Lagos 36, and Ondo 20. Others are Kano, Osun and Rivers with 6 cases each, while the FCT posted 3 cases. The tally is completed by Delta, Kaduna and Ogun States with 1 new case each. With these new figures, Nigeria now has 253,685 confirmed cases of COVID-19. Of this number, 230,126 were treated and discharged, while 3,139 have so far died of the virus. 2 new improved varieties of wheat have emerged as products of agricultural biotechnology research and are expected to boost production to meet the high demand of consumption of cereal. This development, with the support of the Lake Chad Research Institute Maiduguri, is already being harnessed for cropping by wheat farmers in not without challenges that stand in the way of large-scale commercial production. Murjannatu Hassan completes the report.
Before the Boko Haram insurgency, Borno was a hub for large-scale wheat production. At the Chad Basin Development Authority's thousands of hectares of cultivable land in the Lake Chad area. With increasing demand for wheat products, especially macaroni, spaghetti, semolina and bakery items, the Lake Chad Research Institute Maiduguri has released the 2 improved varieties of wheat seeds for trials in several farming areas. The 2 wheat varieties, Durum wheat, MBA Maja and Alta 84, are expected to bridge the gap of cereal production from 5 to 50% to meet the annual consumption rate of over 4.7 metric tons in the north alone.
The first durum wheat that are released in Nigeria is these 2 that we released this year, and they are MBA Maja. That is the one of the durum wheat. The other one is Alta 84. We have covered both the rain-fed and irrigated in terms of bread wheat.
Here in Borno State, the production locations are in Jere, that is Jabarmari, and Kondega local government, and in the southern part of the state, in Biu, Shani, and Bayo. These are the locations where farmers popularly grow these popular varieties of the institute.
The 2 wheat varieties with the capacity to enhance total farming system in the northeast are faced by the challenge of the Boko Haram insurgency, limited extension services and farming tools. Farmers and other stakeholders in the cereal production lament the abandoning of agricultural practice, especially in Marte and other stable lands suitable for large-scale wheat cultivation in the Lake Chad area.
We always get our seeds from Lake Chad. So we believe that if they have it, they will give us.
The Lake Chad Research Institute's training of farmers on modern techniques and post-insurgency recovery programs will no doubt raise prospects for a quantum leap in cereals production. In Maiduguri, Murjanatu Hassan, NTA News.
Just a quick reminder that you can follow this news broadcast live on our website www.nta.ng/live and on our YouTube channel at NTA News Online. Also, you can visit our Facebook page at NTA Network News. Twitter is at NTANewsNow and Instagram is at NTA Network for updates. The recent federal government's intervention in wheat production through the provision of 13,000 metric tons of improved and heat-resistant seed for local farmers by the Central Bank of Nigeria is raising hope of boosting sufficiency in the produce in the country. In this report, Victoria Olabode examines the impact of the turnaround efforts of government in the sector for both users and consumers of these confectionery ingredients.
Wheat derivatives have currently become an option of staple more Nigerian households consume to meet their dietary needs than ever before, owing to the higher prices of other major locally grown crops. Key staple foods such as semolina, bread, noodles, pasta, among others, are produced from wheat and form a regular part of meals in most urban and rural households across the country.
Over 95% of the wheat we use in Nigeria is imported, meaning Nigeria grows less than 0.5% of what we use in Nigeria.
Was ranked number 15 in the importation of wheat in Nigeria, and that also has got a lot of almost 2 billion in terms of FX.
Processors of wheat and producers of flour and confectionaries enumerated challenges faced as alternatives are not readily available.
And there's this project they're doing on seed multiplication, because that is the greatest challenge of wheat farming in Nigeria. Getting the right seed to grow wheat, because it's not like every other seed that you can just take your old harvest and grow. Wheat is very, very sensitive. So CBN is doing a lot when it comes to seed multiplication. Also, they are looking at spreading the growing of wheat to the north central and the southwest of Nigeria. This is being piloted right now, and if it works successfully, then they're going to be growing a lot of wheat. The target is to quadruple the amount of wheat we grow in Nigeria right now.
As reality of the effects of growing national population is drawing on the country, need for more citizens to go back to the soil has been stressed as the only available remedy. In Lagos, Victoria Olabode for Weekend File.
Illegal refining of crude oil, popularly known as coal-fire, has had its toll on the health of Rivers State residents, with the attendant effects of soot for more than half a decade affecting residents. Now, that the political will to put perpetrators out of business is raising hope and confidence in the government at federal and state levels. Kingsley Amajiri tells us more.
Clampdown on activities of illegal oil refiners in Rivers State followed concern over the suit in Port Harcourt, which is traceable to increasing activities of illegal oil bunkering and refineries.
Why the state government intensifies its fight against illegal oil bunkering and refining activities in Rivers State, the atmosphere is becoming clearer. How has that also impacted on the quality of the air people breathe in the city?
It is reducing. It is not completely over yet. It's reducing as a result of this fight by the government. I want to say that even though that our brothers that are into this business are affected, but they should remember that their life too is at stake here.
I would say our quality of air has improved, and the ecological disaster is something else, but we should also think of it. These boys that are doing this thing, they have the technical know-how to do this thing. Our refineries are not working. Why don't you exploit that area and bring modular refineries for them to be operating on?
To help disengage those currently involved in illegal oil refining of petroleum products and rechannel their energies to legal venture, the federal government is projecting to establish 18 modular refineries.
We have some illegal refinery activities that has also led to environmental pollution in terms of soot, which we are all experiencing here in Rivers State. So I think that this modular refinery is a way to go in order to curb those practices.
Participants to be engaged in the modular refineries are expected to be trained and their activities regulated to conform with industrial best standards.
The best thing to do, you bring those that are well trained, train some of these boys. They can fit in. There are a lot of things people can do. Go to the refinery today. It's not everybody that went to the university at the refinery. There are a lot of things people can do that can help in the system.
Some experts in the industry want private entrepreneurs to be incorporated with the process liberalized to open up investments in the midstream and downstream sector of the petroleum industry. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Reports just reaching us now says Nigeria and Ethiopia have resolved to spearhead efforts at achieving sustainable peace, stability and democratic order on the African continent for a prosperous future. This came to the fore at a high-level engagement between President Muhammadu Buhari and the Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, on the margins of the ongoing African Union Summit in Addis Ababa. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has the details.
During the high-level meeting, President Muhammadu Buhari and the Ethiopian Prime Minister critically analyzed the prevailing situation in Africa, especially the unconstitutional changes of government, which they described as a disastrous wave that has been sweeping recently in parts of the continent. The two leaders are worried that the resurgence of coup d'etats, coupled with the unresolved conflicts and other security challenges, can only undermine efforts at achieving the desired progress on the continent.
This is a situation, a critical situation for Africa, a crossroads that requires leadership, good, solid leadership, and that it was really the responsibility of the big countries on the continent to now step up and provide that leadership for the whole continent. And so they are looking at how to come together, a few countries, to deliver that leadership.
The Ethiopian Prime Minister also used the opportunity to thank President Muhammadu Buhari for Nigeria's support to his country during its trying times recently and efforts at restoring normalcy.
The president really expressed his gratitude and believes that Mr. President's role and support and encouragement have been absolutely crucial to stabilizing the situation here in Ethiopia. The president welcomed the direction in which things are now going and the big effort to unite such a big country. He compares it to Nigeria, the diversity and the size of Ethiopia, and the effort to keep it as one and to deliver real development and prosperity for the people of this country.
Nigeria and Ethiopia, Africa's leading countries demographically, have long-standing and robust bilateral relations spanning decades. Both President Muhammadu Buhari and Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, however, believe that opportunities abound for expansion in critical economic sectors towards enhancing mutual progress and prosperity. In the meantime, President Muhammadu Buhari formally received a comprehensive briefing on the coup attempt to oust President Umaru Sissoco Embalo of Guinea-Bissau, which was aborted by loyal forces. This was when he granted audience to the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Guinea-Bissau, Suzy Basosa, who is representing President Umaru Sissoco Embalo at the ongoing AU summit in Ethiopia.
The Foreign Affairs Minister of Guinea-Bissau came to deliver a message from the President of Guinea-Bissau and essentially to provide Mr. President with the details of what transpired during the attempted coup d'etat. He was shown pictures, the deaths and the destruction that occurred, and sympathized and promised to together with his Chief of Defense Staff and others to look at what Nigeria can do to help to support and stabilize the democratic system in Guinea-Bissau so they don't go back to the situation they had, in the last 15 years.
Guinea-Bissau's Foreign Minister Suzy Basosa had told President Muhammadu Buhari that the coup planners who attempted to kill President Umaru Sissoco Embalo destroyed the presidential palace with bazookas, as a result of which 11 young people paid the supreme price. The restoration of order, she said, took about 5 hours. From Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
And that's nationwide. We thank you for watching. I'm Ayo Deji. Makinde, please remember to connect with the NTA and stand against rape and rapists. Good evening.